G'day YouTube, Warbles Online here with part 2 of Irrational Fear.
I saw the bumper sticker that made my brain hurt somewhere around the time that Adam Goodes was treated like shit twice in a week. I think it was after the young girl dehumanised him accidentally, but just before Eddie Maguire dehumanised him accidentally. Long story short, Goodes was awesome and transcendent, and I was driving around all fired up about how I thought Australia was going to hell, and I pulled up behind a car with a bumper sticker.
Oh yeah!
Yeah, nice. I like your style, sir. The sticker had a map of Australia, so alarm bells started ringing in my head already. And the text, love it or leave. And I was instantly so fucking angry. But, like the best, most truly inspired brain explosions, I realised I had to stop and figure out why I was angry. Let's back it up a bit here, right? Maybe I'm being a dick for no reason at all, so let's rationalise this, huh? People say like it or leave all the time, and I've never minded that, but rarely is it in the context of a whole fucking country. Maybe love it or leave is just a business slogan and they work all around Australia. Probably not, because love it or leave is only really a good slogan for a divorce lawyer. No, this guy is definitely a C word, which is what I would have said if my son was in the car. No, I thought this person is definitely a nationalistic, hateful, casual racist. I still cannot be completely certain of this man or woman's interpretation of the sticker, so I decided to fill in some blanks, right? It was very ambiguous, like some sort of hateful neo-Nazi cryptic crossword clue. Or, you know, a sentence that is pronounced properly. Anyway, I very quickly decided that they wore a flag as a cape, had a Southern Cross tattooed on their face, and wanted everyone who wasn't white to leave Australia. And then I second-guessed myself. You don't know these people, Heath. They may not have thought about it beyond having the word love and a flag of Australia on the same sticker. They could be inclusive and patriotic. And remember, Heath, if there's one thing you hate, it's when snooty, urbane people accuse all bogans of being racist. Because you think it's moronic when boho little hipster dudes use a sweeping generalisation to damn a group of people for making a sweeping generalisation. No, screw that. Back your rage, Heath. This person is the Cronulla rioting monster you have imagined them to be. They want me to love Australia or leave. They are the two options they are giving everyone. They have decided that they are sick of being chastised for treating non-whites as subhuman, and all whingers have to go somewhere else. Ah! Fuck! Love it or leave. I mean, what if I took the same approach to my marriage? What if in the middle of a particularly listless stroganoff, I just stood up and left? What if all those homosexuals in New Zealand getting married finally started to undermine my marriage, as we have all been warned about? And I don't love it anymore. I thought that if you loved something, you were supposed to work at it and fight for it and challenge it to become better and stronger. What if I looked at my son putting bread into the Blu-ray player with a crayon up his nose, right? Decided I wasn't a fan of that and just left. Shouldn't I explain to him that crayons don't belong in noses and that Blu-ray is an exciting new format for home theatre to be respected and not fed like a goat? At the moment, Australia is on its way to an election between Jay Giller and Tabbert, and I can safely say that neither of them represent me. We know that Hunty Votey Man is out there somewhere, eagerly awaiting his chance to vote. So, should I leave him to it, or do I get to throw in my 2 cents worth? Side note, polls show that Australia wants Turnbull v Rudd, but we've got Jay Giller v Tabbert. Don't you just love that? Well, you don't have a choice. And what about refugees? They haven't even had a chance to love it here. I assume that bumper sticker person doesn't like refugees. I mean, they want to love it here, but they don't even have the option of leaving because they haven't given the option of arriving. What if they're here because they saw a sticker with a map of Afghanistan that said love it or leave, and they decided they didn't want to get killed in the streets and came here? In fact, what if I decide I don't love it here and pack up my family on a boat to America, but they don't let me in? Now, all of a sudden, I realise that while I didn't think I loved it here, I certainly didn't hate it as much as being in an offshore processing centre while my child dies from dysentery. What then, sticker man? Woo! Yeah! What about Australia's obsession with OH&S? I had a 60-minute safety induction last week to an office. The general vibe of it was death is still bad and not hurting yourself is still good. What is wrong with us that basic self-preservation skills need to be reinforced when we start a new job? Welcome to your first day. P.S. You haven't been absolved of your responsibility to keep your face out of the paper shredder. What about all the hate-filled nationalistic wankers like this bumper sticker guy that keep ringing up radio stations to tell Adam Goodes was overreacting when he was publicly vilified twice in a week during the Indigenous round of the AFL? Am I supposed to love the fact that for some reason in Australia the perpetrators of racism get to define their offence now? Like if someone glassed me in the face and when they were arrested they simply said, no, that wasn't a glassing to the face and that was the end of it? No, I think that glassing is a very Australian thing too, actually, now that I think about it, right? Am I supposed to love that as well? I do have the good fortune to spend a lot of time in New Zealand, so I know that Australia is great, but I have a lot of context of how much better we could be. But now, in the face of this ultimatum delivered by a sticker on a car, I feel like maybe I should take all the things I don't love about Australia and leave. Maybe the sticker is an ad for New Zealand, after all. Pack up my dislike for glassing, apathy-inducing politicians, the idea that Aussies are entitled to do a bit of racism every now and then, television that celebrates mediocrity, OH&S laws designed for 6-foot-tall toddlers, and jump back to the next boat out of here. In fact, now that I think about it, it's malignant hate-mongering bumper sticker jockeys like you that I really hate about Australia. And if I think about it some more, it seems like you're the one having a passive-aggressive whinge about the place. You brought this whole thing up with this silly little bumper sticker of discontent. You're mad. So why don't you leave? Or do you love people who don't love it should leave? Doesn't that mean you don't love people who don't love it and don't leave, ergo therefore thusly giving you grounds to leave by your own logic? Maybe I'm overacting, and I'm probably definitely overthinking this. After all, I overthink things all the time. Like the time that guy cut me off in traffic, and I went to abuse him, and then when I pulled up next to him at the lights, I noticed he was African, and then spent 2 minutes deciding it would be racist not to tell him his driving sucks. Maybe someone put this sticker on the person's car as a joke, the way I used to put Jesus stickers on all the hotted-up mag-wheel boy racer cars at the shops when I was a kid. Anyway, I'm still not sure who the arsehole is in this fleeting hypothetical non-exchange, but the only outcome I have safely managed to reach is, in the 2 minutes I sat behind this bumper sticker at the lights, I had applied more logic to the phrase, love it or leave, than this guy probably ever will. And he was the one who decided to let it represent him in traffic. But maybe, just maybe, in the same way America doesn't think it has a problem with guns, Australia's completely ignorant to how mainstream it's become to treat someone like shit because of where they come from, not what they have done or hope to do.
Ladies and gentlemen, Heath Franklin! Great stuff, Heath. Now, if you guys were anti-population, what would be your bumper sticker?
I like the idea of a bumper sticker that says "fuck off, I'm full," because I'm pro-immigration but anti-cannibal.
Or just one that says, like, have abortions, lots of abortions.
Yeah.
That's too dark.
Get it out of your system, literally. Irrational fear. Love it or complain to the ABC.
You're on Probably Franklin Iron. It's part 2 of Kanye West's Yeezers. Hold my liquor. Bitch, I'm back out my coma, waking up on your sofa, when I park my Range Rover, slightly scratch your Corolla. Okay, I smashed your Corolla. I'm hanging on a hangover. 5 years we've been over. Ask me why I came over. One more hit and I can own ya. One more fuck and I can own ya. Kanye West, sure he says it best, eloquent if anything.
Ladies and gentlemen, David Belushi!
Friends, I'd like to talk to you tonight about a man. More than a man, he's a prophet, whose immortal message of love and sacrifice takes a good book and turns it into a shit film. That man, of course, is Zack Snyder. Now, Zack Snyder has directed the new Superman film, Man of Steel. And don't worry about spoilers, I haven't actually seen it yet, although that's never actually stopped anyone criticising something on religious grounds before. More importantly, I can't spoil Man of Steel because, based on what I'm about to tell you, it sounds like Zack Snyder already has. If the name Zack Snyder sounds vaguely familiar, that's because he made 300. You know, the peg-jiggling masterpiece that combined the sexual politics of Corey Bernardi with the race relations of Hey Hey It's Saturday, and had every NRA fan and his steroid-loving dog shouting, "This is Sparta!" before kicking an unsuspecting Iranian into a hole called Guantanamo Bay. Now, this might surprise you, but Man of Steel is an intentionally Christian film. Right? This Superman film is about to come out. The script makes liberal use of Jesus imagery. It was even test screened to Christian pastors. And Warner Brothers actually commissioned nine pages of sermon briefing notes. This is totally true. Called Jesus, the Original Superhero. I'm pretty sure he's not. Like, by the way, I used to work in a comic shop, and depending on your frame of reference, the original superhero is either Superman himself, Gilgamesh, or Captain Caveman. And these sermon notes are designed to help religious leaders talk to their congregations about the healing powers of a radical, muscular Jesus while, and I quote, showing the Man of Steel trailer during their Sunday morning sermon. Because if there's one thing the church really needs to bring in the kids, it's pop-up ads. It's almost as if Warner Brothers went, you know that bit in the Bible where Jesus gets angry at the moneymakers in the temple and flips over all the tables? Let's base a whole movie on that moment and make money off it in the temple. So, in Zack Snyder's film, Superman's age is given as 33, the same age as Jesus when he died at the end of the novel. And in this film, unlike the other Kryptonians who are cloned, Superman is the product of a miracle birth and is sent to Earth by his heavenly bearded father to be like a god to them, where he's sold out by the humans to the Kryptonians, all of whom seem to wear Roman-shaped helmets, despite the fact they're super-powered muscle men from outer space who can shoot laser beams from their eyes, making helmets completely redundant. When he's cast down by General Zod, the bad guy, he puts his arms out in the shape of a crucifix, and although he can't actually turn water into wine, his dad is played by Russell Crowe, who has turned a fair amount of it back into water. Thanks to the magic of the renal system. Oh, and the bad guy is a Kryptonian scientist who is really into evolution and climate change, but that's not important right now. It makes financial sense for Warner Brothers to chase the Christian dollar. Yeah, the Christian film industry is huge. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry and very lucrative. Significantly more lucrative than the Christian Slater film industry. Whose most recent film, Playback, from 2012, grossed $264 in ticket sales. Not $264,000, $264. Making Playback the most ironic title ever.
That's about how much we gross, actually.
So I understand why Warner Brothers wants Superman to be Jesus, but I'm sorry, Christians, Superman is ours. Right, Superman is one of the holy books of my people. It's an immigrant fantasy by two American Jews about a dark-haired klutz in glasses with a Hebrew name, Kal-El, who moves to America in 1939 to escape the destruction of his homeland. Right? This is a man with such bad allergies that his major weakness is kryptonite, which if he still lived on Krypton, would be literally everywhere. A man who saves the day not by turning the other cheek, by punching the shit out of walls. And we all know what happens when muscular Christians start punching the shit out of walls. It isn't pretty, and it's probably going to be our next Prime Minister. Superman is not a Christian. You can't have him. And you don't need him, because you already have so much. You know, you've got Mel Gibson. You've got a very Harold and Kumar Christmas. You've got frickin' Aslan, right? Including the bit in Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe where Santa Claus turns up to Narnia and gives the kids weapons. Which I forgot was in the original book, but it is, right? Ho, 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 what would you like for Christmas, 8-year-old Lucy? How about a dagger? Santa has a little wet work job for you. So Warner Brothers, next time you're considering what you're going to do with Zack Snyder's enormous blue cock and that literal Christian dollar winks at you between the labial curtains of the cinema screen, ask yourself, what would Superman do?
Dave Bluestein!
Irrational fear.
Now, corrupting your local priest to spread your own message is a very clever tactic from the movie studios, but is it okay, Lewis Hobbit?
It is okay. I wish more independent studios were doing it. I would have loved to have seen, like, Train Spotting or something. Just like a priest out there going, choose heroin! Irrational fear. Now only is more slightly secular than Iran. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Taylor!
Thank you, Dan. Now, this week, Julia Gillard reached a critical milestone in the polls, becoming the first Prime Minister in our history to record a lower approval rating than the Sydney monorail. And that is pretty fucking low.
I like the monorail.
Pollsters say that if the downward slide continues, she could soon be sitting at Jar Jar Binks' level of disapproval, which I don't need to tell you is pretty terminal. And so the Labor leadership question is once again in play. Gillard's clinging on for now because she still has the support of the Catholic Labor right. But come on, even the Pope stepped down this year and he had the backing of the entire Catholic Church. And he was a Nazi. I mean, those guys don't relinquish power that easily. Some say Gillard won't quit because it'll send the wrong message to young feminist women, but I don't know about that. Maybe Gillard could follow the brave lead of Sunrise's Melissa Doyle, who showed this morning that it can be okay for ineffectual, mediocre women to quit their jobs. It is Misogyny Week.
You've got 4 hours left for the purge.
So the real question is, who will take over as PM if Gillard goes? And so this afternoon, to get the latest odds, I logged on to Tom Waterhouse's website, which is not an experience I recommend. It's amazing. There's actually even ads for tomwaterhouse.com on his own website. And... Thank you. But he is actually, Tom is running a book on the Labor leadership. So I thought I'd run you through the form guide of the various candidates tonight. Now, at even money to take over is Kevin Rudd. Rudd swears he's not campaigning for the top job. He swore that this week while campaigning in Geelong, while campaigning in Brisbane, while campaigning in Gladstone. In fact, the only person who popped up in more shopping centres this week was Curtis Stone during the ad breaks on MasterChef. Rudd, I think, is very much the Princess Diana of politics, adored by the public, but to those in the know, a nutcase narcissistic car wreck waiting to happen. Next at 5 to 1 we have Bill Shorten, a man who must wonder how many more episodes of Q&A he has to go on before people stop referring to him as a faceless man. There's no doubting Shorten's ambition. This is the guy so attracted to power that he married the daughter of the Governor-General, but only because the Governor-General herself was already taken. True story. Now, as one of Labor's key power brokers and plotters, there is a certain concern that if Shorten becomes Prime Minister, he may, by force of habit, try to organise a coup against himself. All right, at 8 to 1, we have Penny Wong. Now, who likes Penny Wong? I genuinely do like Penny Wong, and personally, I'd love for her to be our next PM, if only to see the look on Pauline Hanson's face when Australia gets our first Asian lesbian Prime Minister. Can you imagine the talk back that day? Howard Sattler could finally ask the Prime Minister if her partner's gay, and it wouldn't be that inappropriate. At 15 to 1, looking outside the square, Wendy Deng. Now, I actually think Wendy Deng would make a great politician. She's certainly had a lot of practice pretending.
Okay, we're coming up to the end of part 2, and I will restart.